Let's just start with where things stand right now, just kind of in terms of when students return to campus in the fall. What will the situation be? Is it pretty much back to pre-pandemic? Will it be still something of a hybrid with a little bit of virtual learning mixed in, that sort of thing? Any continued restrictions on classroom capacity, any of that sort of stuff?
So first of all, we are planning to fully reopen our campuses all across the system come the fall. In many cases, a lot of our schools are already bringing students back, like our educational opportunities students and other folks. They're already on campus, and we're excited about it. It's been a long time since we've had the entire student community back on campus. We don't have capacity restrictions or anything like that. Those have all been lifted. There are still restrictions, though, for students, faculty, and staff who are not vaccinated, though. So if you're not vaccinated, you still have to wear your mask and you still have to take it upon yourself to socially distance. In some cases, you might not be able to live in dormitories unless you have a medical exemption. You may not be able to play athletics. You may not be able to go to the big games. So there's going to be restrictions for those types of students, though. So we're encouraging, this is why we're doing this 30-day vax challenge. Get vaccinated. We want you to go back to normal. You want to go back to normal. We've been begging for it. They've been begging for it. Let's just don't throw away that shot. Get vaccinated so we can just all return to normal.
Right. Um, I am curious though, like in our business, we really didn't Zoom. I'd never heard of Zoom, quite frankly. Now I think Zoom will continue as we are right now, to some degree in my line of work. Do you expect that virtual learning for situations that warrant it, for professors who prefer it, may be accommodated going forward?
So we kind of take it from a different perspective. It's not if the institutions themselves want to offer because it's easier for us, it's what the students demand. And what we found is students have demanded a little flexibility, especially in our community colleges where they're working students often or working adults. We want to give as much flexibility and opportunity as possible. So we're going to use the best of what we learned from the pandemic. And we have learned things from the pandemic. An online, high quality online program can be a perfect supplement to the traditional in-person experience to help with more flexibility in scheduling, giving more options. And a lot of our students, when I've traveled across the state now many times, I think we put like 33,000 miles on the car since I've become chancellor. They like that flexibility. They want to take the best of that. They want to carry that forward. So many of our campuses are still going to offer some of those robust programs to supplement, though, a supplement. It's not a substitute, it's a supplement for that in-person experience.
Oh, great. All right, so explain a little bit more to me about your 30-day vaccination challenge. What is it already underway? Tell me how it's working.
So we kicked it off this Monday, and it's a big public campaign to tell everyone in our student community, our faculty, students, and staff, the vaccines are safe, they're reliable, and it helps you go and return to normal. It helps you get all the things you want to do back on your campus. And here's all the information about what it means to get the vaccine, plus where can you get the vaccine in this day and age. You can come to our campuses. By the way, many of our campuses are setting up free clinics. Just as soon as you come back, you can get your shot. You can go to a pharmacy now. We want to give all the information so when they get back to campus, they don't feel any restrictions. They can come back to campus in a normal way. They can go back to the dormitories. So we really have these 30 days before people really come back in August to take care of all these pieces to return to normal.
And then how are you disseminating this information? Is it on, say, the individual school's social media accounts? Are you using push notifications over email, that sort of thing to students?
It's a big public campaign. So we are using social media in a major way from system administration, which is my office. All of our 64 campuses are doing a follow-up campaign. We are doing Instagram and Facebook and all those ways that you communicate with students in this day and age, and WhatsApp and things that I don't even know when they tell me that they use. We're using all of those vehicles to get to people. And the most important thing to me has been not me talking about the vaccine, but fellow students talking about the vaccine. That has been the most important factor. So many of the things that we're doing in this public media awareness campaign is using our students to be the ambassadors for the program because they're the ones that other students will listen to. And they've been the most effective. So many of our students have stepped up to make home videos and more professional videos. And that has been resonating really well with other students across the system.
Yeah. Not that I'll get into this in my story, but I am curious, how are you tracking perhaps individual demographics within your overall population? So for example, do you find that, you hear on a national level that certain populations may be of, greater hesitancy? So in some cases, that's communities of color. In some cases, it's the uncollege educated. So hopefully that's not, you're dealing with people who largely, you're good on that demographic. In some cases, it's people with certain religious beliefs. Are you seeing any of that sort of correlation within your population?
So right now, we're building a system-wide database to collect all the information. We're going to collect it in two ways, right? Right now, vaccine records, like any other record that we collect, COVID or MMR or other things. So there would be that record. We're also doing it through testing too, as a way to do it quicker, to build this database faster. So we're requiring everyone to still get a COVID test every week, unless you opt out of weekly testing by demonstrating or showing that you've been vaccinated, and we'll put that into a database. We've recently did a survey of about 35,000 students responded system-wide. And we found at least 72% or so got their first shot at the time. This was a couple of weeks ago. You do see some in the data of individual campuses that have a higher population of students of color, for instance, and some of our more rural, I would say conservative upstate communities, you do find lower vaccination rates thus far. That's why part of our campaign has been to focus on those core areas. What we haven't found, though, overall, even in those communities, we haven't seen the same hesitancy rate as some people have seen more broadly on the younger community, a younger demographic nationwide. So 72% is pretty good. And even in those other situations, we're at 50, 60% already of a couple of weeks ago. So we've noticed a difference, but it's not so different that we're concerned. In fact, in some level, Binghamton and Broome have done quite well. I think Binghamton University, as a couple of weeks ago, was like 80% of their students have been vaccinated. In Broome, it's like 77% of their students have been vaccinated, so that's good. We're finding some issues on the faculty and staff side, actually. For instance, at Broome Community College, I believe only 40% of their faculty and staff have been vaccinated so far. So part of what we're doing is not just focusing on our students. We want everybody to be vaccinated because we want to make sure everybody is able to enjoy the college experience, go back and do all of those things too. So it's a lot of things going on within that world, right? Demographic wise, the type of staff or student wise, but we're focused on everyone because ultimately that's what's going to turn the page on this.
Right. All right, looking back on the last year, how do you think the SUNY system performed under very challenging circumstances? And were there lessons learned that you're applying now looking into the next school year?
It was a real challenging year. And I came in when we're at the height of coming back in the fall of 2020. We were one of the few large public university systems that even try to come back into in-person learning at all. So we brought about 25% of our students back. What we learned was we do have to work more collaboratively together. Sometimes you need a more coherent set of rules to follow in an emergency like this. But really what I've learned was we had some blips along the way, and those were well noted. But our SUNY community came together in a big way. And if you really look back at what happened was there's a lot of naysayers out there saying SUNY could not keep their doors open. You guys are crazy to keep your doors open, send everybody home. And that was a lot of going on. But in the end, our campuses stayed open. We had one of the lowest positivity rates, not only among higher education, but in the state going in throughout this entire process. People complied with the rules in ways that I haven't seen before. Weekly testing, mask wearing, social distancing. They complied because they believed in each other. They believed in their community. So in many ways, it was a reinforcement that we have a great, strong community, no matter where you are in the state. And that, moving forward, you can actually tame a virus like this if you take all the precautions and do all the right things. And I'm extraordinarily proud to be part of that university system that was able to do just that.
All right, my last question is now, how does it feel to start returning to something closer to normal?
Well, someone said this at a press conference recently, and I want to just take the term. It's a level of awesomeness. I don't even know if that's an official title, but I'm going to take it. You just feel a new kind of energy and a new kind of enthusiasm. The more I've been going to campuses, you feel more people on campus. You feel people collaborating again already. You feel people working together again already. There's a little anxiety in that, actually, though. people have been so used to being distanced for so long. It takes a little used to getting back together when you have 50 people in a room together, right? Like there's a little uneasiness about it. But overall, what we're able to focus now on is the core academic mission in a major way. How do you take what we've learned over this period of time? How do we recover from COVID? Economic challenges are many, workforce development challenges are many, research challenges are many. The State University of New York system is poised to champion all of those various areas. We're going to win the research piece like we've been doing. We're going to train hundreds of thousands of individuals who need to be retrained in the workforce. We're going to provide high quality, low cost education. I mean, you feel a sense of renewal